Since the latest update for Modern Warfare, I don't think it's any surprise that there's a fair share of fixes that need to come for various issues. But that said, as with every update, usually around that 1 week out mark, we start to get a solid grasp on the issues at hand, and I've actually seen some attention or even some direct mention about them from Infinity Ward themselves. So today, I'm going to discuss with you 19 changes likely coming within the next update, whenever that may be. I'm thinking that since we're about a week and a half out from Season 2's launch, that there's a small chance that we have an update as of next week or this upcoming week, but if not, then with the Season 2 refresh that will happen on the 11th. But anyways, I want to discuss with you guys 18 things that are known and in most cases are things that have been officially commented on or were recognized by the developing teams at Infinity Ward. As we go along, let me know, is there any issue that I missed here or anything that you want to see addressed in the next update? Let me know in the comments below. And also, if you're new to the channel, maybe considering that subscribe button. We're on that road to 300,000 subscribers, and we'll keep you up to date with all things Modern Warfare on a daily basis. But anyways, we've got a full plate of things to discuss, so let's get into it. First things first, there's currently going on some more investigating revolving around player collision. This mentioned over on the Trello board, as well as a bunch of these other fixes we'll talk about here coming in the future. In this video, player collision was something that was fixed, but not entirely. It was mentioned that it was pretty much reverted back to where it was beforehand, but that's not been the case in a lot of scenarios. It's still present. You might not necessarily be able to push players around as a result of it, but you'll still bounce off of players a little more than you're intended to. So that has a further fix coming and is something that was mentioned as well. One thing that hasn't been officially mentioned by Infinity Ward, but I almost guarantee will be coming here with this, is that of basically a wall breach glitch on Shoot House as a result of this update. Now, it seems like it's almost arbitrary where players obviously can't control whether or not they have this, but I've been seeing a lot of reports where players end up having in-game map models not rendering, so you can see through every single wall, and therefore to a player that may end up dying through, say, a piece of plywood on Shoot House, it may seem like the player has aimbot, when in reality it's just the game completely glitching out. So that's something that is, of course, a big issue that not only for the player that can't see their game rendered in properly, but also for the players that could end up having their position given away even through a many number of walls. So something game breaking like that I'd expect fixed out. Afterwards, another coming fix is something that deals with the chopper gunner on Port of Verdansk in particular. Now, this was an issue that actually I had seen and experienced for myself a couple of weeks back for the first time, and I kind of thought it would be fixed out with update 1.13, but as of checking before that update went out, it was something that was reported, but they hadn't actually isolated. But it seems like this is now in the works as a fix and something is coming along the way. But basically, if you call in the helicopter on Port of Verdansk and it tries to enter from behind the E flag, it is something that there is an invisible barrier there that doesn't allow it to actually progress. You get stuck by right over where the cranes are by E flag, and that's as far as your helicopter can go, which Port of Verdansk is a big map, and a lot of the times the action's also on the other side of the map. So you end up severely limiting yourself or completely using up that streak for absolutely nothing. So I'm glad that's being looked into. I'm glad that a fix is coming for that. Additionally, there's another pass looking to come for that player sliding and cancel recovery state bug that's been going on, and is something that, again, I'll be the first to admit that I fully don't understand the entire situation with that, but I know it was something that was fixed out with this update, but not necessarily fully fixed, so it's going to have a second pass coming. But there's also something that has been a bigger issue amongst the prioritization of what's to come and what's needed to be fixed. But other fixes likely on the way come down to some scope bugs and errors. This actually is a couple that I've personally seen and experienced myself, but one that, again, is an issue we've seen beforehand but is now back, is the Integral Hybrid can see through smoke again. That was an issue that we had seen a couple of months back, right around the launch of the game, and I think some of the earlier patches and updates there, but it seems now that it's bugged and needs, once again, some more fine-tuning and patchwork on that one. Additionally, some of the scoped optics have no texture, and it's just a sort of render display error when it's at your hip, but whenever you scope in, you see everything perfectly fine. But whereas you'd normally see some of the map through the scope, even at the hip, it just showcases this bland white fuzzy texture. So that's something that I expect to be fixed out as well. There's a few wall breaches on Tovorsk District and Ania Palace, which is a bit of a bummer that these still continue to persist. We saw that pre-update 1.13 there were a ton of wall breaches, Port of Verdansk being notorious with a lot of them. them having, I think, upwards of 5, maybe even 6. Krovnik Farmland was the same way. It had a couple that were really prominent and may even actually be the reason as to why it was removed from the current map selection pool in Ground War, but there's a couple there, so I'd expect those to be fixed out as well. Other reported issues now come down to some invisibility issues, and that is, as crazy as it sounds, an issue that does need to be fixed out. Firstly, the Dallas Empire male skin ends up having, with I think it's the alternate jersey equipped, it becomes invisible at just a short distance, as in the character using that can see you, but you can't see that character model at all. So obviously a huge issue. Additionally, some weapon models, talking about character models, weapon models are broken on a few weapons as well, where I saw one with the Model 680, I saw the X16, and a few others that should have their models fixed out as well. Camos are a big thing that, of course, still haven't fully been fixed out. Platinum camo for some players does not unlock on the Ram 7, and as well, Platinum camo and Damascus camo both have some blinding properties when in the right ADS positioning with sunlight coming down on that. That's something that was mentioned to be fixed out with update 1.13, but seemingly didn't do the job well enough and is still being investigated and fixed out by Infinity Ward. After that, we should see some fixes for audio cutouts on PC, where audio just simply will not play in some circumstances for those PC users. Executions near walls and elevated surfaces have been something that have been a little bit buggy as of recently. During an animation, if you try this near a wall, or if again you are propped up on an elevated surface, the animation will just cancel and then it will go about as if it wasn't actually happening, but it alerts the player obviously that you're by them if they're getting executed. So that's obviously something that shouldn't happen and is going to be fixed out with that one. In the 1.13 patch notes, it mentioned that the 45 round magazine for the Ram 7 was changed, though it actually wasn't. We talked about that briefly, I think, in that update video, in which it was kind of quirky that it said that, but we didn't really notice any discernible change. It actually wasn't, although it has been listed as fixed for a future update already, so it should be coming definitively within the next update. After that, we'll see that the Allegiance operator of Zane, he has a few outfits in which he has sunglasses, but as a result of the most recent update, he actually doesn't have those glasses, so it makes for a rather interesting character model, and is something that will be fixed out as the next update as well. Certain maps are actually unplayable now as a result of the most recent update as well for some players. It's not everybody, and it's not something that may be globally known, but it is something that seemingly is a corruption issue where the game just does not recognize some of these files on certain accounts. So that's something you may have noticed. You might not have been able to start a match on, say, Piccadilly, though truth be told, you might want to skip it anyway. But jokes aside, that will then lead us into the final 3 things I want to mention here today. Firstly, being the fact that selecting a field upgrade with Field Upgrade Pro, now as a result of this most recent update, once again brings the issue that was there beforehand back to life, where it will then cause the player to use a tactical or a lethal instead of using that ability. So theoretically, if you have Dead Silence equipped to your right bumper whenever you use this, it will then activate the motion to throw a Semtex, a grenade, or something like that, instead of actually using Dead Silence. That's a rare bug, but it popped up again as the most recent update, and is something we've seen before, so hopefully it's a relatively simple fix, all things considered, being that it has been fixed beforehand. After that, we end up seeing that some players are unable to change their clan tag. That's again something I'm expecting in the next week or so here being fixed out. And then finally, we're going to see some fixes and adjustments to the character models in single player not appearing as a result of this update as well. One thing that personally I'm hoping for is that of the Ground War choose a class prompt whenever you go to spawn back in. I get this every so often. It's intermittent. It's not something that I can say is going to happen every single match, but every so often I'll go to choose a spawn point and then it says, hey, you got to choose a class. And that was something that again was a big problem beforehand, but seemingly it pops up in a much more rarer case and rarer number now at this point, but it's still something that came back as a result of update 1.13. Now, the big question is, when can we expect these changes? Because that's 18 adjustments here that we're waiting on, some much bigger than others, obviously, but when can we expect this? Now, I think there is maybe a small possibility that we have a title update as of this upcoming week, meaning on Tuesday or Wednesday, seemingly if we follow the patterns of what we've seen in the recent past. But if that's not the case, then I'm definitely expecting all of these to be fixed out with Season 2's title update starting as of the 11th of February, not this upcoming week, but the week following. That's when we end up seeing everything kick off for Modern Warfare's second season. It's going to be a title update because we're going to need to see content added in terms of maps, new weapons, new battle pass, all that kind of stuff here with that. So if I were to give you my guess, and the guess that I'm a little bit more comfortable with, I'd say it's probably that point, because that way you're not pushing out multiple title updates, which are going to to require players to download a decent bit of data twice in about a week's time. So that's something that I would expect it then, but hopefully we can see all of these and hopefully more even fixed out if there's anything I may have missed. But all that said, that's where we're going to wrap it up. That's been 18 things here that I want to discuss with you guys and keep you in the loop for if you've experienced any of these. Just know that there are fixes on the way. But that said, let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Is there anything in particular that you guys want to see fixed out in the future? Anything you want to see come to the game in the future? Whatever it may be, feel free to let me know your thoughts. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. If you are new to the channel, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare. Not only are we on that road to 300,000 subscribers, but we'll also keep you guys up to date with all the best things of Modern Warfare, updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. We got you covered here on the channel. So if any of that interests you, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But all that said out of the way, thank you guys all so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.